John's pretty good too. We don't want to upset the apple cart around here, Mike. Hey, John.
What's going on? Unfortunately, Saturday is the former player get-together with the coaches and players, so I will not be competing, Mike, on Saturday.
You will not be in the Tartan Day games? Okay, late
not.
Scratch. We got to find somebody else. You were going to represent the ITG team. We had you. I mean, you were a ringer, man.
Unfortunately, Coach Beamer's invited us to practice and lunch with the team and all that good stuff.
It's not unfortunate. That's fortunate. Fortunately.
Well, but John's a competitor, and I know deep down he's thinking I would have been bringing home medals, and now you're just getting a free meal with the gang, which is good too, but it's not a gold.
Yeah, I haven't done anything like that in a while. I did the keg toss.
Keg toss.
I don't know, about 2 years ago.
In the Olympic beer games, huh?
Yeah, out at Steel Hands. So
nice.
Knowing Beamer, he spices it up around there. They do wiffle ball and basketball tournaments. I'm surprised he hasn't put together. Which, by the way, belated happy birthday to Shane. It was yesterday.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised he hasn't put together some sort of a Tartan Day deal for the football guys in the
right. That would have been fantastic. Maybe next year we can join forces. Gamecock Football, Celtic Game Festival. Let the games begin.
We used to do a little something like that back when I played. Used to flip huge tractor tires and all that stuff. Just competition between all the guys.
Yeah.
That would be quite the promotion, Mike, for the Tartan Day boys to have a lot of football out there participating. Now, I'm not so sure how thrilled the training staff would be about some of these guys throwing, whatever they're throwing, logs and everything else.
Yeah, I don't know if that would go over real well in the old insurance policy. Who was the strongest guy, Strick, and who would have dominated? Your contemporaries, who would have dominated stuff like this?
Oh, man.
Armstrong boys.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, you had some guys who had some big time bench presses. My bench was pretty decent, but my senior year on the team, George Goss had the highest power clean max, and I was second on the team. And power clean is a all body kind of legs, hips, upper body lift. So I would say George probably would have been pretty good at that. But George beat me by 20 pounds, but I had the second highest power clean on the team.
What happened with George? Did he get a good look?
Yeah, he went to Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah.
But was he just a practice squad? I don't remember him playing much.
It's a long time ago, Mike.
I know.
You're asking me questions here that
I just woke up,
mind.
Mike.
All I remember is I'll never forget. So I was at camp with Washington. George was with Buffalo, and he called me while I was there just to see how things were going.
Yeah,
and we would talk, but I don't remember exactly how his career went. It was 20 years ago.
Well, you go ahead.
No, George came by the condo last year or the year before. John?
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Yeah, he came by. He looks to me virtually the same. I mean, what a nice guy. Such a nice
he's
guy.
A big dude. Big dude.
Well, you remember Derek Watson. We're not too fuzzy to remember.
Derek Watson.
How good could he have been?
Derek? Oh man, he had all the tools, man. It just didn't kind of work out for him, unfortunately. But yeah, Derek was a freak athlete on the basketball court and the football field.
Yeah,
that's right. He was on the basketball team for a New York Minute.
I mean, he was Mr. South Carolina in basketball and football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wasn't were some people, if my memories, and I covered that recruiting, it was a small school, right?
Palmetto
was
Palmetto High
single
School.
A at the time, double A.
Yeah, it was low A. Yeah.
So some people were like, yeah, but he's doing, and we see this in recruiting all the time. Yeah, but he's doing it against small school competition. But obviously Derek would have been good at any level.
Well, I mean, he's a 1,000-yard rusher in the SEC. So,
right.
I mean, come on.
Freshman.
I remember watching Charles Grant. Everybody remember Charles Grant?
Georgia, yeah.
Yep. So, and Charles played in the NFL for forever.
Mhm.
He's from 20 minutes from my hometown in Georgia, and it's where my uncle actually lives. But I remember going over there when I was probably in 10th grade because we weren't in the playoffs, so we were like, yeah, let's go watch Charles Grant over there because he played running. It was like a Clowney-esque kind of deal. They would put Clowney at running back, and he'd just run and take off, run over people. And Charles Grant was the same person, but it's a little single A school. But he he showed out when he got to college and the pros. So yes, it's easier versus lesser competition, but that doesn't always translate to this guy's overhyped because he's playing at a small school. So yeah.
I loved Andrew Pinnock's game.
Oh yeah.
Old school fullback. He had a good run in the NFL. Chargers.
He had a nice career.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the coach at what's the high school, John? It's in Georgia.
I don't know. I know he's coaching. I don't know that off the top of my head.
John, break down the Pythagorean theorem if you can. 10 seconds left in the segment. If you could go ahead and just
don't mind.
Close that out.
I have.
We're just putting John on the spot with all these questions. He's like, man, I just got up. I'm just ready to have a nice light segment.
Oh man, I just got off an hour-and-a-half long conference call.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, you should be happy as heck then. This is a lot more fun than that.
Yeah, they wanted us to give a 3-year outlook on where we see all of our numbers, our budget going. I was just like, oh, yeah.
I have a real question for you. As it pertains to this team and not Derek Watson's team. But I love Derek Watson. Always loved watching him play the game, of course. There's a great, you're right. There's a great run of running backs here. Don't forget about old meat. Yesterday we were listening to Sterling Lucas. Did you catch Sterling Lucas? Talk to the media, and it was being asked.
I didn't see his. I think the only one I saw was Coach Teasley.
Coach Teasley. Okay. Well, we've of course talked the offensive line to death around here. The defensive line, though, he was asked specifically about a bunch of players. Now they're developing. Of course, I don't know that I can remember. Mike, maybe you can remember one. I can't ever remember a coach going, they've all gotten worse, and it's going to be a tough. Nobody says that.
Mitch Cumstein, I think, said that. He was fired the next day.
Yeah, that might.
Long story.
Back during Mitch's time.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that he did say, and I don't remember ever before Coach Spurrier got here having a coach, and you played for Coach Holtz, and I know internally he would tell you all things, and then publicly it was a little bit different when he would speak to the media, of course. But Steve came in with why not us? We can win, and we can do this, and we can do that. And I think for the first time that I can remember in Carolina football history, he actually had a fan base that believed they could do all these things. For the longest time, it was kind of like, I don't really think that's ever going to happen around here, but we're going to go drinking and enjoy the game anyways. And Coach Spurrier, of course, changed a lot of that. And Shane has some of that in him too, but he's got coaches like Sterling Lucas yesterday, he was asked, has anybody tried to talk to you? Have you thought about leaving the program? He's like, no, I love it here. I think it's a great place, and we plan on winning national championships. Now,
I did hear that quote.
That's it. So I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, and don't misunderstand, or create some sort of content that isn't there, John. But it's not very often here, ever, that you have coaches who stand on a podium and say that. I don't know how many coaches have come through this program that have actually believed that. But I do think that Shane Beamer has convinced this staff that that is something you can do, regardless whether the fans or opposing fans or media or whatever actually believe it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about inside that building. The fact that they actually truly believe that. You're around a lot of these guys. I think when they say it, I don't think it's just coach speak. I don't think they're speaking out of turn. I think they really, truly believe that.
I think they believe it too. Obviously you got pieces in place to compete with anybody, right? But you know what? As a former athlete myself in college, we believed that we could go out and win championships every season. So I don't think it's that surprising to me that he would say that. I mean, if you're a competitor, and you got good good a good core around you on the team, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, listen, we were in this past year, we were in every single game except for one game. And that was because you had a quarterback and running back beat up. The offense just looked like crap that day. They hadn't practiced in 2 or 3 weeks. But other than that, I mean, you were in every single game and had the lead in 2 of those 3 games you lost. So, yes, the mindset is we can win the championship around here, and that's what we're looking to do. So, yeah, I'm not surprised he said it.
No, well, the point that I'm making is you to your point, you heard that in the locker room. Did you ever hear Coach Holtz or one of your? Well, I don't even know if your position coaches spoke to the media back then. Most of them didn't, but very rarely do you hear that publicly. What does that do for a team when Sterling Luke or whoever, doesn't matter, any coach walks into that team room and says, we're here to win a national championship. We recruited you here to win a national championship. We're going to win a national championship. And you hear that, but then you see him go out there and he's facing the media boys, talking to the media guys. And he says, no, we're planning to win national championships here. How does that impact the morale of that team?
I mean, honestly, I think their mindset's already that. They showed how close they were last year. So I think the mindset is already that. Even if the coach says it or not, all the players are thinking it too. And Coach Spurrier even to the media used to talk about, we're trying to win the SEC championship, and we think we can. And if you win the SEC championship, you're playing for a national championship.
Yeah.
Especially back then. I mean, that's just how it was. Because that SEC championship game, you were going to be one of the top 2 teams more than likely in the country back then, and you were pretty much guaranteed you were playing in the national championship. So, listen, all those guys think it, and they know how close they were last year. I mean, we were so close, like so close. That Alabama LSU game, man. I mean, heartbreaking to go back and think about it. Say what you want, but we got screwed over the LSU game, and then the Alabama game. You're literally one play away from winning that game in Tuscaloosa.
What's funny about that, guys, is your goal to win a national championship, if you're in this league specifically, I guess the Big Ten too, you don't have to go through that roadblock of winning the SEC championship anymore.
Nope.
Like that doesn't have to be your goal. I'm sure they talk about it. It would be a nice trophy to have, but you don't have to win it to be in the playoff and have a chance to win the actual, the golden egg.
You don't, but man, that SEC championship is just a sweet, sweet feeling. I agree with Coach Spurrier. I mean, he used to say the SEC championship game is bigger than the national championship game. And that's kind of how I feel about it too. But obviously being the national champion is the ultimate goal. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're in the mix and you don't make it to the SEC championship game, doesn't matter. You get in, you can go through, win the playoffs, and there you go.
Just out of curiosity, a little off topic here. I'll start with Mike. Do you think, I'm not talking about like next year or in 3 years or anything like that, but like just long term as the sport continues to evolve, do you ever see the elimination of some of these league title games, specifically the SEC?
So JC and I have gone back and forth on this, on JC and Morgan, and I know Josh Pate is one of those guys that has thrown this out there that he thinks basically it's going to go to a playoff for 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2 are just going to like not even play. So you're not going to have an SEC championship game. You're just going to have 2 play-in games, and then 1 for 2 get automatic bids into the playoff. My response to that is that will never happen. So it's fun to talk about, and it's great clickbait, and it's okay to believe it. But the SEC will not get rid of the SEC championship game. You're nodding your head, John. You know it. I mean, for some people, it doesn't mean anything because you're never in it. But for the people that are in it and have experienced it, it's the world, man. It's the only game that sells out before they even know the matchups. You can't give away ACC championship game tickets half the time, but you sure as hell have to fight to get in the Benz in Atlanta to see the SEC title game. So are they going to just get rid of that because of what? No, it's not going away.
No, I mean, I'll go back and reference Coach Spurrier. The SEC championship is just as big as the national championship game. It really is. It's a spectacle.
It's a spectacle
that people want to see and go to. And I mean, I'll never forget. We were, I was at the SEC championship. When we played Auburn. I mean, I saw so many people with Tennessee shirts or a Georgia shirt or whatever from all different teams at that game because they want to go to the SEC championship game. I mean, that's just the kind of game it is. It's like a national championship game. So Sankey was not going to let that thing go anywhere.
Hell no.
No. And I think it's important to make sure that you kind of divide the two issues in hand, because one issue, like let's say if you go back to December and Texas didn't get into the playoff because they lost the SEC championship game, you wouldn't be having I agree with both what y'all are saying. I don't think you'd be having as much of a conversation about what is the purpose of the SEC championship game. I think the conversation would be the loser of this game probably still deserves to be in the college football playoff. So how do we make that happen?
First of all, think about it like this. If you make the SEC championship, you've probably won at least 10 games, right? You probably have won at least 10 games throughout the season. You're locked into the playoffs.
You're automatic.
So it doesn't matter if you win or lose it. It doesn't matter. You're in. If you're from the SEC, you're in. It doesn't matter.
What if there was a 12-team playoff in 2010? Would South Carolina have made that playoff after losing to Auburn? They were 9-4.
And they made it to Atlanta and lost? Yes.
You think so?
I think so.
I think Greg Sankey would have pretty much put a gun, theoretically, metaphorically speaking. I know we're a Second Amendment show, but we're not actually condoning putting a gun to people's head. Metaphorically speaking, he would have put a gun to the committee's head and said, "You're not going to leave the SEC runner-up out." Now, in this day and age, with no divisions, I'm not sure Carolina would have been in the game anyway. I have to go back and look at the records.
I
don't think they would have been.
I don't think so either.
What was the West? What was the second place West from 2010?
I can't.
God, I want to say it was Alabama.
It's either Bama or LSU. We know that.
Come on, JB. Look it up real quick.
I think we're statistician Mad Dog. I thought it was Alabama.
Mad Dog, he'll have it.
Didn't Bama go 9-3 that year with losses to?
Well, they lost to us. They lost to Auburn, and they lost to
LSU.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I can't imagine.
Either way, I think our record was the same as Alabama's, so we would have went regardless. Because we beat them head to head.
Still says LSU.
It was LSU. What was their record?
Oh yeah, Bama was 5-3. Yeah, LSU and Arkansas were both 6-2. So LSU beat Arkansas that year, though.
Yeah, so there you go. So LSU technically was the second best record in the SEC.
Yeah.
So it would have been Auburn and LSU in Atlanta.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah. I mean, shoot. I'll be honest with you. I mean, that would have been something, wouldn't it? Think about that for a second. It would have been Auburn, LSU if this scenario was being played back then, and you would have also you could have had Arkansas would have Alabama, and then you had the Eastern Division champion in South Carolina. Nobody else in the East was going to go. Florida had 5 losses, they had 4 losses. I think they lost the bowl game that year.
It was the beginning of the end of the Urban Meyer era. That game where Marcus Lattimore ran for 1,000 yards, that was the end of Urban, his run.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at here is you could have had the top 3 teams in the West with a better record than South Carolina, who would have at that point in time lost the SEC title game and potentially been left out of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, nowadays, look, I've talked about this before. Missouri's 2 trips to it, they were never the second best team in the SEC.
South Carolina was.
A couple of those Florida teams that made it by virtue of winning a weak Eastern Division, they weren't the second best team. The West was the varsity. The East was the JV for a lot of that time frame. But that's not going to happen anymore because we don't have divisions. So it's just going to be the top 2s. There are going to be a lot of programs that dream of going to Atlanta, but are probably not going to sniff it very often, if we're being brutally honest, because Georgia doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. Strick, correct me if I'm wrong. LSU and Alabama, I don't think will be down by their standards very long. If they are, you could expect coaching changes immediately. And then Texas, I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon. So, like, if you're that next tier level program, you got to have a lot of things go right if you're going to make it in the 1 or 2 hole.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how Alabama is this year. I think it's obviously going to come down to their quarterback play on how good of a team they'll be this upcoming year. So, I think we were a better team than Alabama last year, but they got us. Crucial turnovers at not good times of the game. Lost by 2 points.
Well, they come to Columbia on October the 25th. I am so curious. Mike and I talked about this last week. We were talking about the September schedules. And I am so curious what type of Alabama team comes to Columbia in that last weekend of October. Because you've got, I mentioned you opened at Florida State. I know Florida State wasn't any good last year. I get that. But it's still the first game of the season on the road in Tallahassee. It ain't going to be easy.
No, they'll be much better.
No, but I think that, yeah, I agree. And they have to go to Athens. I don't think they'll lose this game, but we don't know. I mean, they have to go to Columbia, Missouri. They got Tennessee coming to town.
The other thing you don't know is that if he, being Kalen DeBoer, loses a game early, it's going to get – you wouldn't be human if it didn't get to you a little bit, because there is a blank storm of Alabama fans that are ready to club him like a baby seal the moment he shows signs of not being Nick Saban. And at that point, John, I guess you didn't really know. What was your first year, Carolina? I always ask you this.
2000.
Okay, so you only knew the good life, or pretty good life.
Yeah, I never lived those.
You didn't know 21 in a row. So Alabama's obviously not going to lose 21 in a row. But what they could do, if God forbid they lost to Florida State on August 30th, and then lost to Georgia on September the 27th in Athens, which they'll be an underdog in. If you got a 2-loss, and before Carolina, they also have Tennessee. Yeah. If they roll into Columbia with 2 or 3 losses, it's going to be toxic in T-Town. That is not going to be a bunch that is going to be really well and happy. And in the college game, especially, John, things can snowball out of hand quickly.
Quickly.
Right? Especially now in the portal. They can all they can all be on their phones already talking to their agents. I got to get out of here, man. This is not what I signed. I signed up for Nick Saban's Alabama. I didn't sign up for Kalen DeBoer's Alabama. Go ahead and shop me. Shop me around.
There's of their 12 games, I can't remember the last time I was able to do this. I think that there are 7 games that they could lose this year. I'm not saying they're going to lose all 7. That is not what I am saying.
Let's say they lose half of those, James. Let's say they lose 3.
Right. That's my point.
There will be Armageddon at Alabama.
Another 9-3 season.
Yeah.
Another 9-3 where they don't get into the playoff.
It's so rare that you look at an Alabama schedule and you go, yeah, they could lose that. They could lose this. They could lose that. Let me ask you this. I'll ask both of you this. So we went over, remember last week, Mike, we went over, and you and I both agreed, LSU had the most difficult September stretch because they've got Clemson on the road. They do have the Gators coming to Baton Rouge, and then they got to go to Oxford, right? Those are the 3 in that 5 game. There's no off week there. Bama's got Florida State and Tallahassee to open. Then they have Monroe. Then they have Wisconsin at home. Then they have an off week. And then they go to Athens. Who is more likely to come out of September with 2 losses, LSU or Alabama?
Alabama.
I mean,
I got to go Alabama here, and I'm just going to give you why.
Yeah.
I think LSU has a established quarterback. He's going to be a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
I think that kind of leadership, he's an older guy. I think that kind of leadership makes a big difference. At Bama, you're going to have a first-year starter more than likely.
I agree. No, 1,000% agree.
And that makes all the difference in the world. It really does.
That's a good point.
No doubt. I mean, we're all Team Nussmeier, right? Like, dude has arm talent that's ridiculous.
100%.
He did throw on his pro day, by the way. He went out there and put on a show, from what reports say, and I'm frankly not surprised. But I could see a world where LSU does lose 2 of those 3 games.
100%.
And if so, Brian Kelly is gonna reek of desperation. You think that Southern accent was strong in the recruiting? He's going to sound like Foghorn Leghorn if they're 3-2.
What if they're 2-3? He might have duct tape over his mouth.
I mean, listen, we all know playing at Clemson is a tough place to win. All right, we know. I know this firsthand. So that's going to be tough to start the season out for them. But I just look at it from an experienced quarterback versus what Alabama has. That's why I would go with LSU.
I agree. LSU's better equipped at the quarterback spot to withstand it. But I think both of them could take a couple early hits. And if so, going to be so ugly.
And you want
ugly.
To bring it home, you wonder how it impacts the October stretch for the Gamecocks, Mike. They're bookended with trips to LSU and Oxford, and in the middle you got Oklahoma and Bama coming to town.
Yeah, that's and then the bye, and then at Texas A&M. Like that's the 5-game stretch. That's like, okay,
that's your money. That's your money stretch.
Yeah. What's your team made of right there? LSU on the road, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss on the road, A&M on the road. That is a 5-game gauntlet that is going to really you're going to figure out. You're going to get answers to a lot of questions you might have right now in terms of just how good this team is, how good certain players are, what is the kind of trajectory, of the program. Like a lot of those things will be answered in part during that 5-game stretch.
John, what is today? Not once the season gets here, this answer, or once the season gets started, this answer might be different. But if I said, what is Carolina's most difficult game today? Which ball game would you circle?
I'm going at LSU.
Yeah, me too. As it stands right now.
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
I'm going at LSU. I've played there before. Place is wild. It's crazy. And they have a veteran quarterback. So that is on the schedule today. That's the most difficult game, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
No argument.
It could all be certainly different by week 4 or week 5, but we'll see.
It could be. You don't know how the season's going to play out. Just like last year, all this hype on Kentucky, they were trash. Okay, and then they had us at winning maybe 5 games. I mean, come on, you don't know what's going to happen. So, but today, yes, I'm going with LSU as our toughest game on the schedule.
Before we hit a timeout here, John, some quick hoops thoughts on you. Michi appears to be returning to the Carolina program. It's not official, but it's expected.
Well, I saw he put something on Twitter where he said our ex, and he said tomorrow, but he deleted it, I guess, this morning. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what. I know he's at Vandy. 2 days ago visiting them.
Yeah, I think Carolina's cleared that hurdle.
Yeah.
Sure.
So no, I'm good with that. What was your other hoops question?
Oh, we won't have you on before the Final Four. So
I know. Listen, well, The women are going to have to play better offensively if they want to win. I can tell you that. They've struggled the last few games, not hitting shots. And Don's talked about it. And Texas defense, listen, yes, we blew them out twice and they beat us by 4 at their place, but their defense is elite. So we're going to have to play better on offense. I think if we get the offense clicking these last 2 games, I think we're unstoppable. But I'll tell you this, man, UConn is looking really good right now.
Yeah,
they are clicking on all cylinders. So I got South Carolina and UConn in the championship game, and we squeak it out.
Ooh, boy, that'd be something. That would be something. Carolina.
So what I see, I think UConn, South Carolina.
All right, who wins the men's side?
Oh man, listen, I got to stick with my pick that I picked on my bracket. I'm going Florida.
Okay.
But don't be shocked if Houston beats Duke.
You've been on the Houston train all year. I'll give you credit for that.
I told y'all. I said Houston's
we didn't want to listen.
Way better than all y'all think. They are way better than you think. And they've done nothing but blow everybody out they played in the tournament so far. That includes the mighty Tennessee Vols.
They go down to Duke. Strict.
We'll see. I think it's going to be a spectacular game, though.
I do, too.
Whoever wins that game, I think it's going to be a great game. Houston doesn't have as much talent as Duke does. But, dude, they play so disciplined. They play so disciplined and good team basketball, which I think makes them super hard to beat. And their defense is elite.
It's brutal.
Yep. Elite.
Yeah, it's brutal. That's the game within the game to watch, Cooper Flagg against Houston's defense. Like, that's almost too good to be true to put that together. That's fantastic.
Good point.
Yeah.
It's a great matchup.
Yeah, I've been busting Phil up because he told me that Houston was going to lose in the first or second round. I was like, you done lost your mind, buddy. I said, they're going to the Final Four, guys. You just might want to go ahead and write it down. Well, if you don't, well, you're lost.
Yeah, I didn't do that, and I lost. You're right. I mean, look, give credit where credit's due.
Don't listen to Strickland. You pay the price.
Well,
that's right.
Strick, you would have cashed in on the.
Listen, I'm a basketball guy at heart, man. I'm a basketball guy at heart.
I can tell.
Basketball.
Most football guys that I know love the game.
Man, I started playing basketball at the age of 4. I started playing at the age of 4. Played all the way through high school. Didn't play my senior year in high school, which I still regret because all my boys that I grew up with, my team, we made the Final Four in Georgia, in the 4A, which back then was the biggest. 4A was the biggest back then in Georgia. We made it to the Final Four, region champs, and I didn't play just because I was solely focusing on football. But I regret not playing.
America's better off that you focused on football and did what you did.
I think I could have still done both. I could have done both, but yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of wanted to enjoy my last 4 months of high school without being engulfed in sports. And I committed to South Carolina the first week in December, and I just kind of shut everything down after that, and just enjoyed it with my friends and got ready for college. But
who closed it for you on the recruiting process? What was the factor or the coach?
Honestly, man, it was the Jeff Barneses, the Shane Halls, the Ryan Brewers, beating all those guys. They were all freshmen at the time, and just hanging out with them. And Coach Holtz. I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. I'm a 1981 baby. So during the 80s, growing up as a kid, you knew Notre Dame, you knew Lou Holtz. It's kind of hard to turn something like that down. And I wanted to play in the SEC. That was my 2 factors. I would have went to Auburn if Terry Bowden would have stayed the coach probably. But since Tuberville came in after him, I didn't know anything about Tuberville. Mm-hmm. Coach Holtz, hook, line, and sinker, got me.
Boom.
Yeah.
I've only read like 3 books in my whole life, but I have read Winning Every Day twice, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's a great book, John. Back in high school, John that's when he started his bourbon collection, for anybody wondering, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, back in high school,
Yeah. Look at that. What's the pick today? John's barrel pick.
The pick today, if I wanted, well, I just got a new bottle here. This is a unicorn. This is William LaRue Weller.
Oh, holy moly!
Yeah, that's a hard one to get right there.
Yeah, that's incredible.
But I'll tell you what, this new Jack Daniel's 14 just came out. These are
you sent me that.
Hard to get too.
Okay.
God, it's so good.
Well, when me and Flynn, of course, will be up for the spring game, so we'll come over there and just drink on you. That'd be perfect.
Come on.
All right. Thanks, John. Good to see you, bud. See you next week.